Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. Now, this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press is dated Friday, October the 6th, 2023, and it is Thanksgiving weekend, and appropriately I wore orange for this program. Now, on the front page, we have a great picture of Jodie Byram winning in Agassiz by Owen Devereaux. Election night was perhaps a touch bittersweet for Jodie Byram. While the first-time candidate earned victory during the 43rd Manitoba general election in Agassiz, her party, the Progressive Conservatives, were ousted from power with an NDP majority win. But no matter which political party is in charge down at the legislature, Byram knows that her job remains unchanged, that being the voice of the riding and of everyone who resides within it. After Byram's victory was confirmed, she spoke with the Banner and Press and noted that she is looking forward to having the honor of representing everyone within the constituency. I'm honored to have been elected by the people of Agassiz. You know, going out there and campaigning and talking to the people, I listen to the issues and the concerns that everybody brings forward, and I will bring those issues with me to the legislature, stated Byram. And it's not just those who voted for me. I'm a representative of everyone in Agassiz first. Byram steps into a role previously filled by her mentor, Eileen Clark. Byram said the progress made by Clark during her tenure as MLA will be remembered. She said Eileen leaves behind a legacy that will be difficult to emulate, but that she will work every day to achieve. And it goes on to say on page 8, as for Byram and the PC party's new position as the official opposition to the NDP, she said that does not change the reasons she is there. We are there to ensure the government and policy makers are accountable to the people. Either side of the aisle, we are representing the people, and I will work to represent the people here, fight for the issues of the day, and take things forward. As the evening drew to a close, Byram also took the time to thank everyone who has been involved in the campaign, from staff to volunteers and especially loved ones and her family. As for what occurred outside of Agassiz, the new Democratic Party were able to nearly sweep Winnipeg, winning or leading in 30 of the 32 ridings as of the Banner and Press publication deadline. With these results, Wab Kinew has become Canada's first First Nations provincial premier. In his victory speech, Kinew thanked the public for its trust and reached out to healthcare workers, stating that he is committed to fixing what he calls a broken system. Reaction from the other political parties are swift post-election, as Heather Stephenson announced she would be stepping down as the leader of the Progressive Conservatives. As well, Dougald Lamont stepped down as the leader of the Manitoba Liberal Party after losing in his re-election bid in St. Boniface. Going into the next sitting of the legislature, which is expected to occur in November, the NDP have 34 seats, the PC party have 22, and the Liberal Party have 1. These numbers are still unofficial, according to Elections Manitoba. And here we see a picture of Eileen Clark, the outgoing MLA for Agassiz, congratulating the new MLA Jodie Byram on Tuesday, October the 3rd. And here's another picture of her on the front page. So congratulations to Jodie. Learning about the importance of democracy by Owen Devereaux. Students at Neepawa Middle School learn a lot of valuable lessons over the course of the school year. One of the most valuable, perhaps, that they'll hopefully take with them for the rest of their lives recently occurred. That lesson is the importance of participating in democracy. On Monday, October the 2nd, all the classes for the middle school staged a student vote, weighing in on the 2023 Manitoba election campaign. Joanne Freeman's grade 6 class was responsible for organizing the election, which was structured exactly like the real provincial election. That included having the students serve as voting officers, registration agents, and clerks, just like would be in place at any official voting facility. Freeman said it was very important to teach the students the exact government structure of an election. As well, the classes were encouraged to research our actual local candidates in order to be able to make informed choices at the ballot box. Freeman noted, the results of the student election at the Neepawa Middle School, official as of the morning of October 4th, are as follows. So they actually counted their votes. Jodie Byram won with the PC Manitoba government. She had 239 votes. Richard Davies, a Liberal, had 53 votes. Danica Wiggins, an NDP, had 45 votes, and Mark Wilson, the Keystone Party, had 55 votes. There were no declined ballots, and 11 ballots were rejected. Well, good for them to teach them how voting in democracy works. Now, there is a note about the Roxy Theatre. It will be closed for the Thanksgiving weekend, which is this weekend, October 6th and 7th. So I'll come back to that later. So Helen Drysdale, out of Helen's Kitchen. This week her article is about honey. Everybody likes honey. Drizzle it on your toast or add it to your tea. When it comes to sweeteners, honey is the bee's knees. The prairie provinces are the major honey producers in Canada. They produce approximately 80% of Canada's honey crop. The honeybee industry in Manitoba makes about $50 million annually in the sale of honey, producing around 6,000 metric tons of high-quality honey. Bees are integral to our ecosystem and farming life. The value of bees pollinating fruits, crops, vegetables, and legumes is almost 20 times the value of honey produced. Throughout Canada, crops such as apples, blueberries, cucumbers, canola, and cherries, flax, and sunflowers rely on honeybees for up to 90% of their pollination. A honeybee visits between 50 to 100 flowers during one pollination trip. The saying "bee as a bee" is so true. To produce a pound of honey, a colony of bees must collect nectar from approximately 2 million flowers and fly over 55,000 miles. I don't know how they figure that out. One honeybee produces 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey over their lifespan, which is about 6 weeks. It requires 556 worker bees to gather a pound of honey. Not all honey has the same color or scent or flavor. Soil, climate, and the kind of flowers the nectar comes from influence the honey. In Manitoba, common honey flavors include clover honey, alfalfa honey, canola honey, and buckwheat honey. For thousands of years, honey was the main sweetener used throughout the world. Sealed honey vats found in King Tut's tomb still contained edible honey, despite being over 2,000 years beneath the desert sands. My. When sealed in an airtight container, honey never spoils. The best place to store honey is a cool, dry cupboard or pantry shelf. When baking honey, reduce oven temperature by 25 degrees Fahrenheit to prevent overbrowning. For easier removal, coat your cup with oil before measuring honey. Honey adds a delicate floral sweetness to everything from appetizers to baked goods to sauces and salad dressings. Enjoy some Manitoba honey today. Oh, that was so interesting. Helen has 3 recipes included here: honey raisin nut cookies, honey baked onions, and honey orange dressing. So go online to look up those recipes if you are interested. All right, Gladstone Market Report by Tyler Slawinski from the Gladstone Auction. It's starting to feel a lot more like fall as cool days and rain sweep across the province. Stock trailers line up and fill the pens at the auction marts. As record prices are recorded, it seems to have the fall runoff to an early start. We traded 1,508 cattle through the ring on October the 3rd. Strong prices are still a reality, although bearish futures mixed with poor weather and large numbers of cattle trading has applied some pressure to the market. The market is trading some tail-end yearlings, lots of wet-nosed calves, and still a fair share of cows and bulls. The feeder market was strong today, although it lacked a few local orders that were a little reluctant to fill pens with the weather the way it was. Cows and bulls were slightly steady to stronger from 120 to 132.00, with sales to 1.46. Bulls also very steady to last week, ranging between 155 to 170, with sales to 174. Plainer type cattle are still being discounted. Some highlights from the sale are the following. Mixed steers weighed 345 and they brought a whopping 540.00 per pound. Red-hided steers weighed 507. They brought 412.00. Black steers weighed 642 and they brought 3,700. Red X steers weighed 710 and they traded for 361 per pound. And a big set of 980 weight yearling steers brought 272. Heifer highlights, crossbred heifers weighed 390 and they brought 392.50. Fancy 5-weight heifers weighed 597 at 335.50, and a big set of 740 weight mixed yearling heifers traded for 295.00 a pound. Province posts budget surplus by Owen Devereaux. Manitoba saw some perhaps unexpected improvements to its finances heading into the home stretch of election campaign. The province has closed out its 2022-23 fiscal year with a $270 million surplus, according to audited public accounts for the year that were released on Friday, September the 29th. Finance officials attributed the positive numbers to an increase to almost $2 billion in extra revenue, which included $836 million in higher than expected corporate and personal tax revenues. The province also had an extra $1.1 billion in expenses, however, through a mixture of municipal grants and collective agreement settlements. This result is unexpected, as finance officials had been forecasting $548 million deficit in the budget that had been brought forward, tabled in 2022. This is only the second time since 2009 that the Manitoba government has been able to report a surplus. Manitoba Premier Heather Stefanson was in Neepawa when the fiscal results were announced. In an interview with the Neepawa Banner and Press, Stefanson noted, "It's great news. I think it shows we are on the right track doing the right things. I am concerned if we get someone in government who doesn't have the experience to do what we have done, it won't be good." The Canadian Taxpayers Federation, or the CTF, meanwhile, applauded the balancing of the budget in 2022. "The government deserves credit for balancing the budget," said Gage Holbrook, Prairie Director for the CTF. "Now it's time to set up a plan to pay back the debt and make sure Manitoba stays in the black." Provincial government debt now sits at $30.3 billion, a decrease of $281 million compared to the budget. "The government needs to keep this progress rolling," said Holbrook. "Taxpayers can't afford to have the government waste any more of their money on debt interest charges." Now on the Rural Outlook page, we have winners in Gladstone. We have a winner in Gladstone for the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 110 Chase the Ace. On September the 23rd, Steve Owen and Michael Foster found the ace and shared in the grand prize of $5,545. So pictured from left to right are the treasurer, Carrie McLennan, the winners, Steve Owen, and Louis Robideau. Wow, Steve Owen and Mike Foster, congratulations to you guys. We also have a picture from the Indigenous Culture Day in Neepawa. Indigenous Culture Day, hosted by Arts Forward on September the 29th, took place at the Flats in Neepawa in recognition of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation and Orange Shirt Day. The annual event is a collaboration which highlights different aspects of Indigenous culture with a focus on hands-on student learning via a variety of activities. These included activity stations such as bannock making, beading and drum, ribbon skirt making, and dancer and regalia stations. Powwow presentations were also made, showcasing a variety of different songs and dances. One of the presentations made was by a jingle dress dancer, which is pictured here. Jingled dresses have 365 jingles and weigh 25 to 30 pounds. Wow. And it says more on page 18. So we'll turn there, and it has a few more pictures. A sharing of cultural history. Pictured above, the drum group at the September 29th Indigenous Culture Day in Neepawa prepare to sing and drum for one of the powwow performers, a grass dancer, pictured here. Students were invited to keep track of how many different songs were played during the powwow and educated on an important task in relation to the drum, this being the warming of the drum as moisture gets on the drum skin during the day, which changes the sound. Warming the drum removes moisture and retightens the drum skin, restoring the desired sound. Oh, how interesting. One of a grass dancer's tasks was to prepare an area for settlement. The dance performed was symbolic of this important purpose. This and many more important cultural and historical facts were shared with the Neepawa students in attendance. Oh, that's great. So back to the Rural Outlook. RM of Rosedale considers adjustments to land use bylaws. The Rural Municipality, or RM, of Rosedale has struggled with keeping up with its moving and grading this summer thanks to a staff shortage. So September sees them in a catch-up mode. As CAO McDonald says, they're so far behind, they're doing what they should have done in the spring. The vacant positions have been filled, but staff is still in training, and the councillors ask the constituents to have patience while they all get up to speed. The RM is also considering adjusting equipment depending on the conditions of the various roads and ditches. October marks the start of the decision-making process for next year's equipment buys, so now is the time to have those conversations. Rogers Communications has proposed a telecommunications tower in the area, which requires municipal road access for their heavy equipment. The RM is open to allowing their access needs to address the cell service problem they have in the area, but want to ensure they have a conditional agreement to cover the scope of that use. The big conversation of the month was around selling lots within Franklin, which is a decision that is not just limited to that community, but also applies to the rest of the communities within the municipality, which would be held to the same conditions should the bylaws and policies be changed. Current policy requires newly purchased lots to have a building constructed on them within a year, but holding to that policy for backlot areas might involve new road construction and other costly measures. Council is looking at options to reclassify some of the lots or to build into their bylaws that lots meeting specific conditions, such as lack of access, must be purchased with another lot. There is also consideration around who is maintaining the lots and ensuring the community is not at risk of wildfire. The discussion is ongoing and will likely form part of an overall municipal strategy plan. The Eden Fire Hall water access was also on the agenda, as the contractor has been unable to locate the old water line to hook into. The option of hooking up to potable water for fire truck usage was considered, as well as putting out a new line directly to the well instead of continuing to search for the old line. All options will be cost out before a decision is made. Other items the RM considered this month were aeration support for Kerrs Lake, participation in the Valley Life Seniors Housing Project, a couple of subdivisions, and following up on future bridge repairs. Tenders were received for repair of Boundary Road 84, and Council made decisions to go forward. As well, they discussed the topic of gravel reserves in general. As well, work continues on testing local clay to see if it is suitable to line a new landfill. The RM of Rosedale's 2023 tax sale will be held on their next regular meeting date of October the 13th. All right, we have a great article here by Casper Werhahn entitled, It was nerve-wracking to be that famous. Neepawa artists receive warm welcome at Brandon Gala. The Art Gallery of Southwestern Manitoba was hopping with activity late last week. That eventing, the Brandon-based gallery hosted a gala evening for the exhibit titled Let Them Fly, which features the works of artists from Neepawa's own Touchwood Park Association. These artists are Barb Thompson, Justin Smith, Dorothy Lyon, Laurie Gooden, Greg Jones, Stan Schwazirza, and Sheena Johnson. All were in attendance, accompanied by art instructor Jerry Oliver. The Neepawa Banner and Press received comments from a pair of the artists following the evening, who made note of the evening's excitement. It went pretty good, it went well, and everybody was excited about their artwork, said Justin Smith, and a lot of people showed up. Sheena Johnson added, it was nerve-wracking to be that famous, and famous they all were. After the evening's introduction concluded, the plethora of people had the opportunity to not only browse the works on display, but to meet each artist, speak with them, and even get photos with them. A lot of pictures were taken, and I really enjoyed talking to people about my art, Johnson enthused. It was pretty new to me, but it was very cool. It was really exciting, Smith agreed. Anyone who has yet to see all of these artists' works still has time to do so. Let Them Fly will remain on display at the Art Gallery of Southwestern Manitoba until October the 14th. Congratulations is extended to all. So here we have some pictures of the artists. Oh, it has their names here. So Barb Thompson, Justin Smith, Dorothy Lyon, Laurie Gooden, Greg Jones, Stan Schwazerza, Sheena Johnson, and their art instructor, Jerry Oliver. In this photo, there is an opening speech that was provided by Jerry Oliver on the evening of the gala, during which the guests in attendance gave Oliver and her students a warm welcome. After the speeches were concluded, all were invited to take in the art and speak with each of the artists. Oh, that would have been great. Now we have a few pages to shout out a big thank you to all of our firefighters in the region. I won't be naming all of the names, there's just too many of them, but I will mention where these regions are from. So, first picture we have is the Neepawa firefighters, and the Minnedosa firefighters, and the Westlake Gladstone firefighters. On the next page we have a picture of Glenella firefighters, McGregor, Calwood, Amaranth, Plubus, Arden, Onanol, and Carberry. We're so lucky to have so many in the same area in case we need help from other communities. So thank you to all of the people that help with that service. Oh, we do have a few more. Well, look at this. McCreary, St. Rose, Clan William Erickson, and Laurier. A shout out to them also. Next we have some sports. Neepawa Titans win in Winnipeg by Owen Devereaux. If the Neepawa Titans hope to contend for a playoff spot this MJHL season, or perhaps even achieve a little bit more, there's one thing they'll have to do consistently, and that's beat the teams they're supposed to beat. Neepawa did exactly that recently in Winnipeg with solid back-to-back wins over the Blues and the Freeze. Both Winnipeg clubs appear to be in the stages of a rebuild to contention, and the Titans need to take advantage of that. In previous seasons, unexpected losses early in the schedule have ultimately come back to haunt Neepawa, sinking their postseason hopes. This year, the club understands the significances of a solid early start and working at accumulating some wins. This effort began with an impressive 4-2 win over the Blues on Friday, September 29th. Neepawa collected an early lead with goals from Mason Hartley and Jacob Lamoureux in the first period. Hartley's goals is his fifth of the season, which already matches his goal output from the 2022-23 season. Wow. The Titans kept the pressure on in the second period with 2 more goals. Lamoureux, a recent arrival to Neepawa through a trade with Wewe Sakapo, added a second goal to his stats on the night. Then, just before the end of the second period, Connor Thompson picked up his third of the year, making it 4-0 after 40 minutes. The Winnipeg Blues made it interesting in the third period with a pair of power play goals, but just didn't have the means to stage a full comeback against a solid Neepawa effort. Goaltender Mason Lebreau earned the win with a 28-save night. Then, the Neepawa Titans were once again on the ice in Winnipeg at the Hockey for All Centre, formerly known as the MTS Iceplex. They were there less than 24 hours later, this time against the Winnipeg Freeze. Neepawa, for the most part, dominated this game, but still needed a last-minute goal to win in regulation by the score of 3-2. Jacob Lamoureux scored with just 45 seconds left in the third period to secure their second win in as many nights. Alex Cordero and Connor Thompson each scored for the Titans in the first period. For Cordero, it was his first of the regular season, while Thompson was adding a fourth one to his statistics for the season. KC Kukut was credited with his first win of his MJHL career with a 25-save performance for Neepawa. Next up for the Neepawa Titans will be a road game in Dauphin on Friday, October the 6th versus the Kings. They'll follow up the next night at home where they will face the Niverville Nighthawks. The start time at the Yellowhead Center on Saturday, October the 7th is set for 7:30 p.m. And according to the MJHL standings as of this paper, is the Dauphin Kings are in first place with 8 points, and Neepawa and Wayway Wolverines are tied for second. So that's great. Now, on to football. Golden Bears best NACI Tigers. The Neepawa Tigers were bested by the Verdun Golden Bears 56-20 on Sunday, October 1st in the Rural Manitoba Football League. The loss dropped Neepawa's regular season record to 0-4 on the year. Next up for the Tigers is a game against the Dauphin Clippers on Saturday, October the 7th. Start time at the NACI field is scheduled for 3 o'clock. All right. Next, we have a couple of pictures here from Fall Supper. With autumn comes fall suppers. The Arden Community Centre was full of action during the Arden Community Fall Supper on October the 2nd. Above left here, with so many dessert options, yummy. It's hard to pick which one to take. And here we have a full turkey dinner with all the fixings that was served along with some delicious meatballs and pierogies. Here you can see the tables filling and the people lined up for a delicious meal. At times it could be hard to find seats with the group you arrived with that evening. Now I thought I would read this from the Central Plains Cancer Services. Apparently volunteer drivers are needed in some communities. Central Plains Cancer Services volunteer drivers transport people from their community to and from major cancer centers in Manitoba for cancer-related medical appointments. The Central Plains Cancer Services pays mileage, covers cost of parking, and will provide a meal for appointments that last longer than 4 hours. If you are interested in becoming a volunteer driver, please call 204-857-6100 or email to info@cpcancerservices.ca. And it does mention the communities that are looking for volunteer drivers. McGregor, Austin, Sydney, Alonza, Amaranth, Burnie, Mountain Road, Eden, Polonia, Glenella, Waldersea, McCreary, Riding Mountain, Kelwood, Erickson, Minnedosa, Gladstone, Plumas, Arden, Franklin, and Neepawa. So please consider that. We also have a couple of articles here of interest. It's a harvest celebration open late event, which is happening Thursday, October the 9th from 5 to 8 p.m. in Neepawa. Some of the things that are available is a free movie at the Roxy, sponsored by the Rotary Club of Neepawa. There will be kids' activities at the courthouse, sponsored by Neepawa Gladstone Co-op. There'll be a hot chocolate fundraiser at the courthouse, and a library book sale and marketplace. And this is all put on by the Neepawa District Chamber of Commerce. So please consider that also. Now, the Assiniboine Community College is offering practical nursing information session. The training is going to be starting in Neepawa this January. So interested applicants are encouraged to attend this information session. Our friendly staff will provide program details and address any questions. It will be held Wednesday, October the 11th, 2023, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Neepawa Library Meeting Room, which is located at 280 Davidson Street in Neepawa. So for more information, you can also contact our recruitment team at recruit@assiniboine.net. Well, we're definitely going to need more nurses coming up, especially with our new hospital coming. All right, I'll go back and read Homebodies by Rita Friesen. This week, her article is entitled Thanksgiving Reflections. How appropriate is that? We all know that some days it is a whole lot easier to give thanks. There are some days all the positive thinking one can drum up isn't quite enough. That doesn't mean I or we should give up or not even try. Most days it is super easy for me to be grateful. I took a day trip last week. Traveling down to Carmen, I chose number 1 highway. It was horrendously busy. I could not enjoy the fall colors or observe the progress of the prairie harvest. I am familiar with road construction and have adapted to the roundabout at Portage. The traffic was dense and intense. Coming home, I chose the roads less traveled. Heading west of Carmen, stopping at the Graysville Mennonite Church Cemetery and paying my respect to family and friends, parents, nephew, neighbors, and classmates. It was a beautiful fall day, and spending time there was easy. I continued through the Pembina Hills, out to Notre Dame, and over to Holland. I continued past Austin and north to Gladstone. I enjoyed every minute of this slightly longer drive, admiring the rolling acres, the ravines and valleys, taking in the beauty of the fall colors and open to each vista. It was worth every extra minute on the road. The time in Carmen was equally enjoyable. I had high tea with a niece, catching up on the past few years, sharing joys and sorrows. The time spent with her flew by, and the next scheduled family event was a lunch with the last of Ed's brothers and sisters. The last of the Friesens is 92 years old, in good health, lives alone, and a few years ago bought himself a red Mustang convertible that he drives on sunny days. Wow. This time together also sped by, once again getting caught up with family events, sharing memories, honest feelings, and emotions. It is a wonder that we can continue to learn and grow, long past the age of wanting to learn and grow. The last family member I spent time with was my youngest sister. We went for a walk to the nearby park, sat long on a picnic bench, and here too caught up with family events and shared open and honest feelings, emotions, and memories. Before heading back, we shared coffee and cookies. Chocolate chip cookies baked by her daughter, my niece. Perhaps it was the walk and the fresh air that influenced my decision, but they were the best cookies ever. And I have met a great many chocolate chip cookies. It was an ordinary day. It was an extraordinary, ordinary day. At every turn, I had opportunity to be thankful. Thankful for the love extended and received, for the care and support expressed and enacted, for the love and laughter shared. The thankfulness for the ordinary continued with my arrival home. My granddaughter had let Ari, my lovely and loving young dog, out twice during the day, so there were no messes or puddles, just vigorous rejoicing at my return. A long, slow, rejuvenating walk completed a day filled with introspection, appreciation, conversations with intent and content, and thankfulness. I always like reading her column. Just a few left for this week. I'll read Ken Waddell's Right in the Center. This week his article is entitled Disappointment Abounds. There is a disclaimer. The views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as the view of the Banner and Press. When the October 3rd Manitoba election dust settled, there were some happy people, but there were a lot of disappointed ones as well. Likely more disappointed people than happy ones. The good news is there is a way to turn that disappointment around, and it covers every voter and every party. The bad news, it requires more work than most people are willing to perform. All Manitoba parties elect leaders, nominees, boards, and delegates. The NDP holds leadership conventions and delegates are elected. Well, at least 2/3 are elected. About 1/3 of the delegates are appointed to spots designated for union reps. I have attended an NDP convention as a reporter, and it is quite the process to observe. Independent candidates can vote however they wish, but the union delegates tend to be clumped into voting blocks as per the wishes of the union leadership. While the new Democratic Party obviously claims to be democratic, the assigned union delegate system erodes that premise considerably. Aside from that one difference, most political parties have local electoral district boards. They all maintain a membership list, and when the time comes for electing delegates to annual meetings or policy meetings or leadership conventions, the local board tries to get a slate of delegates to attend to represent the views of the local electoral district or constituency. The titles local electoral district, constituency, or riding are pretty much interchangeable. In the Banner coverage area, the local electoral districts are Agassiz, Riding Mountain, and Spruce Woods. When people are disappointed with the results of an election or the election process, they should seriously consider joining a political party that most closely espouses their views. If a person is willing to be a member, they will likely get an opportunity, if they wish, to become a board member and a delegate to a provincial convention. There's lots of opportunity, as many board and delegate positions are left unfilled. It has long been that way. It is at the board level that policies can be brought forward and then moved on to the provincial meetings. That's how it's done, and those who are skilled and willing get to bring their policies to the forefront. The bottom line is, if you aren't happy with the October 3rd results, you can change things for next time. The mistake that many people make is to join a party that will never form government. New parties have a hard go. There has not been many new parties form government. In the 1940s, in Manitoba, the Conservatives and the few Progressives that were left standing became the Progressive Conservative Party of Manitoba. The New Democratic Party was formed nationally in 1961 by the amalgamation of the Cooperative Commonwealth Confederation, the CCF, and the Canadian Labour Congress, CLC. The NDP name came to prominence in some provinces after that. In Manitoba, there are many people laboring away in the Keystone, the Green, and the Liberal parties, and largely to no avail. The common theme is that a lot of caring, intelligent people have mostly wasted their time at politics when they could have applied their talents within a party that had a chance to form government. The same premise holds for Manitoba's two main parties. Neither party has properly developed their structure to best employ the talents of Manitobans. When membership lists dwindle, and when board positions are left unfilled, and when provincial conventions aren't filled up, Manitobans sell themselves short. So if you were disappointed with the results of Tuesday's vote, the above steps need to be taken to make Manitoba's political scene more vibrant and effective. Well, that goes The same goes for a lot of things. Now, Faithfully Yours by Neil Stroshine. This week it is called Counting Our Blessings, Part 1. In my 72 years on this planet, I have lived in 7 different communities in 3 different Canadian provinces. My travels have taken me to 2 more provinces and 6 of the United States. But while traveling can be a lot of fun, it's also nice to return home. For the past 27 years, home has been the town of Neepawa. I moved here in 1996. I fell in love with the community and its people, and I've never felt the urge to leave. This is where I live. This is where I work. And this is where I will spend my declining years. This is probably where I will die, and where what is left of me after I die will be buried. So, why do I love this community so much? What drew me here? What keeps me here? The most obvious reason, for me at the least, is the sheer beauty of the world right around my home. If I get tired of the scenery in one place, I can jump in my car, drive 1 hour in any direction, and feel as though I have emerged in a different world. If I want to relax beside a quiet stream, I can do that. Such streams are plentiful in this area. I can dip my toes in cold lake water if I desire. At this time of year, a country drive will treat me to an awesome display of fall colors, something no artist anywhere on earth can ever hope to duplicate. This part of Canada has an abundance of nature trails for hiking in the summer and cross-country skiing in winter, and we are less than an hour away from a national park that showcases one of the most unique ecosystems in the world. But for this farm boy, nothing beats regular drives along Highway 5, Highway 10, or Highway 16 just to see how each year's crops are growing, or watch different pieces of farm equipment at work in the fields. Given the wide variety of crops growing in this area, I'm sure to see pieces of equipment I never saw while growing up in Alberta on my family's mixed farm. In my lifetime, we have seen many advances in our knowledge and understanding of the world God has entrusted to our care. Modern science enables us to test the soil, determine its nutritional needs, and blend fertilizers that will supply nutrients that are lacking. Modern technology enables applicators to vary the amount of fertilizer applied to different parts of a specific field, thus ensuring that no over-fertilization takes place. These advances, along with numerous others, enable us to produce enough food to feed ourselves and hundreds of others, while doing all we can to take care for that part of God's world entrusted to us. Have we grown in our appreciation for, respect for, and care of this part of our world? I would argue that we have. Have we learned all we can learn about our world and how to care for it? No. Will we learn more in the future? Yes, we will. Will we use that knowledge to become better stewards of whatever we have? I hope and pray that we will. We have been richly blessed with the beauty of nature and the fertility of the soil around us. These blessings are not to be taken for granted. I hope we will take time this weekend to thank God for what He has given us and resolve to be better stewards of these gifts. He's Happy Thanksgiving from Neil Stroshine. Now, we have a couple of fabulous pictures to look at here. Potato crop is looking all right out there. Jim McGregor of Plumas recently brought in some massive potatoes from his home garden. These spuds measured between 10 to 12 inches, and the larger of the two weighed in just a few ounces under 3 pounds. Boy, that could feed a lot of people. Congratulations to Jim on the healthy harvest this season. So does that mean anybody out there that has huge produce from their gardens can bring it into the Neepawa Banner and Press to check out if they're any bigger? All right, the last thing I'm going to read this week is Looking Back. We have just enough time to read it. And it is by Caspar Werhan, and it goes back 125 years, October the 5th, 1898. John Halpenny has taken possession of the residence just vacated by J.H. Thompson. That must have been big news. George Ludlow writes the press from Dryden, Ontario, to contradict the rumor that his corner lot on which P. Mitchell's blacksmith shop stands has been sold or is about to be sold. Mr. Ludlow says it is not for sale just now. Oh, those darn rumors. 100 years ago, on October the 5th, 1923, Jack Stewart returned yesterday from his mission to the Doukhobors of Saskatchewan. His reports on conditions are quite satisfactory. 75 years ago, on October the 7th, 1948, the Neepawa area is to have a provincial health officer. Dr. William Watt of Aberdeen, Scotland, arrived in Neepawa Tuesday, accompanied by his wife and small daughter, Rona Bruce, 3 years old, to make their home here. Dr. Watt will be a physician at the Neepawa Public Health Unit. The Army Mobile Display, traveling throughout the province, providing Canadians with an opportunity of becoming acquainted with the Army, visited Neepawa Monday night. The caravan of 10 vehicles attracted a large crowd both afternoon and evening. Equipment on display included Arctic clothing, mobile workshops, many weapons and vehicles, including a staghound armored car, booby traps, and mines, etc. 50 years ago, Thursday, October the 4th, 1973, a citizens committee to retain a grade 9 class for 28 students at Alonza have won their battle with trustees of Turtle River School Division, who have now reversed their earlier decision to have the students transported to high schools at McCreary and Amaranth. Arnold Witzel, chairman of the committee, told the press that while they are happy about their success, the matter is not completely settled yet. The school board has consented to supply books and 1 teacher for the coming year, but have made no commitments beyond that. Mr. Witzel said that the number of students in the class entitles them to 2 teachers. A new business opened its doors this week to offer a greatly expanded service in the sale and repair of tires for all types of farm and automotive vehicles and equipment. To be known as Neepawa Tire Sales Limited, the firm will feature Goodyear products including tires and automotive accessories. I'm assuming that's the same one that's still there. 20 years ago, Monday, October 6, 2003, emergency services will resume in Gladstone following the hiring of 4 doctors at 7 Regions Health Centre. In Plumas, a lot of the men had smiles on their faces Monday morning, September the 29th, when they all went back to work at the hog plant at Neepawa after being out of work all summer. And here we have a picture of a girl named Heather McConnell of Dauphin, who won first prize in 1973 at a fancy dress horse competition, which was held as part of the Kelwood Fair that year on September 29th, 1973. And I'll read this too. The very last thing is an article. When was this? Oh, here at the bottom. H.S. Stead of Neepawa was offering flow glaze for furniture and woodwork in 1973. So this ad was placed in the press, edition of the press, in October 26, 1973. Flow glaze, the finish that endures, finishes and renews furniture and woodwork. Save the surface and you save all. Neglect destroys. If furniture loses its original beauty, if hot dishes have scarred your dining table, if hard knocks have made your dresser, your bed, or your buffet unsightly, if weather has marred your veranda furniture, Flow Glaze will renew them all. If you do not wish to do away with a serviceable chair, if you wish to restore a scarred heirloom, if you want to alter the shade of your furniture, Flow Glaze will renew them perfectly. There are many surfaces in your home that would be bettered by a coat of Flow Glaze. Your floors and stairways, your kitchen, your bathroom, any furniture or woodwork that is showing age or wear can be renewed with Flow Glaze. It's always interesting to read those old advertisements. So that is it for this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we will see you another day, maybe next week. So bye for now.